The Bryan Harsin era at Auburn is over. After a 9-12 record, the Tigers have pulled the plug, and on Monday they fired Harsin. We're going to bring in Jesse Simonton of On3 to discuss. Jesse, really, he's been on the hot seat since the end of last season. There's been rumors swirling throughout the summer and even into the early fall. So why did the Tigers decide on Monday to get rid of him?
It took until Halloween for Harsin to get the axe, but mercifully that era is over. And it's kind of what we discussed just last week. They were waiting to kind of get those ducks in a row in terms of their AD search. So on Saturday afternoon, the writing was definitely on the wall. You knew the balloon was going to pop sometimes shortly because reports surfaced that John Cohen, Mississippi State's athletics director, was in negotiations to become Auburn's athletics director. The Tigers were in the middle of getting blown out by Arkansas. Their eighth loss in 9 games against Power 5 teams. So it was just when, not if, for Harsin. The axe came down once Cohen's move was announced on Monday. It literally was 4 minutes later, and a press release that ironically didn't even include Bryan Harsin's name had them looking for a new football coach.
Yeah, and Auburn is a big-time job, don't get me wrong, but there's been a coaching churn and the program's a bit down. So what are some of the characteristics of this job if you're a potential coach looking at Auburn?
Yeah, I kind of outlined these challenges in a piece that's on 3. Go check that out right now. And it is an attractive job. It's probably a tier 2 job, but the four prior head coaches before Harsin all won an SEC championship. So the potential for titles is there. However, it is a sea of dysfunction on the Plains. There's so much promise, but the pitfalls are just as scary. And alignment is a word that you're going to hear a lot, but it's a buzzword for a good reason. There's no cohesion at Auburn. There's way too many cooks in the kitchen. And so if Cohen, who allegedly has assurances that he will be the guy to handle this job search, has full autonomy, then perhaps Auburn can go out and really get a good candidate. However, that lack of alignment and so many issues behind the scenes, so much booster meddling, could turn off some real attractive candidates.
Yeah, there's definitely some challenges that come with this job. All right, Jesse, give me your top candidates for the Auburn.
What does it take to be a good Auburn Tiger head football coach? You need to bring in elite talent, and you need to not be afraid to go head-to-head with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, your 2 chief rivals. The number 1 candidate on Auburn's board has to be Lane Kiffin. Again, check out On3, have a column coming out on this very subject. The Ole Miss's head coach has completely turned around the Rebels' program. They were coming off the sanctions from the Hugh Freeze era. He's 18-3 in his last 21 games. He's the transfer portal king. Make him the Tiger King. Bring him to the Plains. Auburn has a war chest allegedly of around $13 million with their new NIL collective. Why not go get the best guy to turn over your roster to put that money to good use? So Lane Kiffin should be Auburn's number 1 target.
If it's not Lane, do you think it's necessary that it's a quote-unquote SEC guy?
I don't think it has to be an SEC guy, but I do think it needs to be someone that has Southern ties. So Deion Sanders is going to be a name that will get traction at Auburn. John Cohen, Mississippi State. Again, he's going to be very familiar with both Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss's head coach, but also Jackson State's Deion Sanders. And he's going to know everything about Deion, kind of behind the scenes. And so I think Deion will get a legitimate look. I think Hugh Freeze is a name you're going to hear mentioned a lot. I'm more skeptical of that one right now. Speculation a little bit here on my part, but John Cohen was part of the Mississippi State administration that kind of turned in Hugh Freeze with the NCAA several years ago. So that seems kind of like an odd marriage. Perhaps we can put, bygones and bad blood can be buried, but that one I'm a little skeptical on.
Yeah, that could get interesting. I mean, typically in a coaching search, a team doesn't usually get their first pick, but I kind of view Hugh Freeze as like a Lane Kiffin light. Now, what you said about him is true. The AD had to clean up the mess made by Hugh Freeze. But then again, he also put up with Lane Kiffin for all these years and knows how to deal with him. So maybe, hey, you live and you learn.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Again, Hugh just got a huge contract extension at Liberty, but he has a buyout there that's not prohibitive.
Yeah, it's Auburn.
The agent's name you're going to hear everywhere also is obviously Jimmy Sexton. He represents Hugh Freeze. He represents Lane Kiffin. He represented Bryan Harsin. He's really good at these kind of plug and play deals too, where one coach he represents leaves for a job and he brings in another one of his clients, to kind of fill that vacancy.
Yeah, like moving around pieces on a chessboard.
Exactly.
All right, Jesse, tell us, when can we expect this to get wrapped up? Because recruiting is incredibly important. We're heading to the end of the season here. We got about 5 or 6 weeks left. Do you expect to hire before the season's over, or will this leak into the offseason?
I would say Thanksgiving is probably the earliest. Now, you keep in mind again, if we're centering around Lane Kiffin here, the Egg Bowl is actually on Thanksgiving, and so perhaps Auburn, if he is their top target and they can come to some sort of agreement, he could be the head coach of the Tigers, by that first weekend of the SEC championship game, and then whoever it is, whether it's Lane, Hugh, Dion, Matt Rule, another name we didn't mention, who I know has interest in the job. Whoever it is certainly needs to be in place come early December so they can not only get cranking with this early signing period, but kind of really start attacking the transfer portal, which is going to run wild when that door opens up December 4th.
All right, Jesse, thanks for checking in with us. The Auburn job has been open now for 24 hours, and this is our first coaching search update. Thanks, Jesse.
Appreciate it, Josh.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me, and remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.